beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're going to talk about the new summer collection from ColourPop. This is the California Love collection. I know I'm a little bit late on this one. Forgive me, I've been traveling for the past 2 weeks, so this launched while I was out of town. I also managed to get a little bit sick while I was traveling, so if I sound weird or don't seem like I'm operating at 100%, that's because I am not. But nothing perks me up quite like a new ColourPop palette, so here we are. I am going to focus mostly on this California Love palette, but I do want to breeze through the other products in this collection really quickly for you. This is kind of a smaller collection for ColourPop. They did release 2 new shades of the BFF mascara. These are priced at $8 each. There is a bright coral shade called Lover's Coral. Cute little name. You know, ColourPop's always good for that. And a brown mascara, which I love. I love brown mascaras because they're a little bit more natural, and I always go for more natural versus more glam. So there is now a brown mascara called Brownie Points. So you'll get to see that as a part of the tutorial a little bit later on in the video. There are also 5 new Ultra Blotted lips. These are priced at $7 a piece. I know people have really been asking for more shades in the Ultra Blotted lip formula. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this formula. It just never quite looks great on my lips, but I know a lot of people love it, so hopefully you're excited about these. I am wearing this one today called Scenic Route. I'm just wearing it mixed with this NARS lip oil. When I apply these Ultra Blotted lips to my dry lips, they just don't look super flattering on me. They kind of settle in all the little lines and wrinkles on my lips, so that's why I'm not a fan of these, but mixed with this lip oil, it's actually kind of nice. Since I have managed to pick up a little bit of a cold, I am not going to be lip swatching all of these because I don't want to get my gross sick germs all over all of them. So I'll just go ahead and show you a quick arm swatch with all of these. That way you can see all the colors applied to the inside of my arm and get a better feel for what these look like on the skin. Okay, let's get to the part that I'm really excited about. If you've watched my channel at all, if you know me, if you've followed me for a while, you know there's not many things I love more than a ColourPop palette. Every time a new one comes out, I get so excited. This actually launched while I was traveling and I didn't realize that ColourPop had sent it to me, so I ordered one. So I actually have an extra, so I will be doing a giveaway. Not sure if that will be here on YouTube or over on Instagram. I don't really have the mental strength to plan that right now, but it will be coming soon. This is the latest palette addition to the ColourPop family. This is the California Love palette. It is retail priced at $18 US. This has 12 eyeshadow shades. There's no mirror in this one, but that higher price tag is due to the fact that we have a pressed glitter in here. So there's 1 pressed glitter. There are 4 true mattes, 4 metallics, and 3 of my most dreaded formula mattes with glitter. This very first shade in the palette called Diego, I would have sworn this was a Super Shock shadow. I can't find anything to corroborate that, not in the ColourPop swatch party video, not on their website. Nothing is saying that this is a Super Shock shadow, but this feels so different in texture to all of the other shimmers in this palette. If I had to bet, I would bet that this was a Super Shock, but it's not labeled as such anywhere. All this says is that it is a pressed powder palette with pressed glitter. So I don't know, maybe the cold medicine is playing tricks on me, but this is such a soft, bouncy texture that it really feels like a Super Shock to me. When we take a close-up at the packaging here, it has this really cool, like retro orange vibe with palm trees, very California Love appropriate. And the shade names are pictured inside next to the shadows. You know I love that. We also have the shade names pictured on the back. The outer cardboard packaging is really cute too. It's that same style of artwork, just even more retro vibes. I really like this. So I'm gonna do something a little bit different for this California Love palette. Typically, I just show you the finger and brush swatches, I show you a tutorial, and then I give you my thoughts. But because this is mainly a warm neutral palette, I really wanted to show you a bunch of comparison swatches because ColourPop does have a lot of existing neutral, specifically warm neutral palettes in their line. So I wanted to show you this California Love palette side by side with a bunch of the existing ColourPop palettes. Before I get into all the palette comparisons, I do want to show you my regular finger and brush swatches for this California Love palette, just so that you can see how this one performs with both finger and brush swatches. The swatches are all done on the inside of my arm with no primer down first. The finger swatches are on top, and then each corresponding brush swatch is below. Just like every single video, my brush swatches are done with my e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush, and I'll clean the brush off in between each shade using my Veramona color switch to prevent shade transfer. The only shade that is not brush swatched is that glitter, the pressed glitter shade. This really does need to be applied with a finger, so I just skipped that one in the brush swatch row. So let's take a look at those swatches now of the California Love palette, and then we'll do a whole bunch of comparisons. Here are all the shades swatched. I did also want to mention that the pressed glitter here is just swatched onto my skin. I did not use a glitter glue, though in practice I do recommend a glitter glue, but here all the shadows are just directly onto the skin. Because this California Love palette is basically a warm neutral palette, I really feel that it's useful to compare this to some other palettes that already exist in the ColourPop line. Of course, there are more than just the ones I chose to compare it to in this video. That would be worth questioning, but I will say I do have every single ColourPop pressed powder palette that has been released ever, and these were the closest ones. There are other neutral palettes that I considered. These are the closest, best, most worth comparing in my opinion. So let's take a look at some arm swatches. The swatches pictured on top of my arm are always going to be the California Love palette, and I just swatched this in the order that they appear in the palette. Then for each palette that I compared it to, the compared palette is going to be pictured below, and I rearranged the shadows to try to put some of the more similar shades side by side. That way you can see which ones really are close, where does this really differ. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Let's take a look at those comparisons now. For the first comparison, we're gonna look at the You Had Me at Hello palette compared to California Love. One of the things I did when I swatched these out was say, not what shades are exact dupes, but if I swapped these out, which ones would I not notice? And then I kind of took a percentage from there. As far as these swatch comparisons go, I found 5 shades that I felt could easily be traded out, and that gives me about a 40% shade match between the Give It To Me Straight palette and California Love. Hopefully that method makes some sense to you. So now we're looking at the Give It To Me Straight palette versus California Love, and I think these look similar at first glance, but when you compare the shades 1 to 1, I only found about 3 shades that I would feel comfortable swapping out and saying, okay, these aren't maybe an exact dupe, but it's a close enough shade match for me. So that gives us a 25% shade match between Give It To Me Straight and California Love. Now we're going to look at what I think is the best match 1-to-1 shade-wise. I think that 8 of these shades I could comfortably swap out. The main difference for me are these lighter shades in the Double Entendre palette. California Love seems to be a little bit deeper overall, but I'm going to show you the 8 shades that I say are a shade match, and that gives us almost a 70% shade match between these two palettes. Now we're going to do a comparison with the Yes Please palette. I thought that these would be more of a match than they actually are. I was surprised that there are only 3 shade matches in this palette, so not as similar as I expected. These are only about 25% shade match rate, at least to my naked eye as far as I'm concerned. Another surprise for me is the Sweet Talk comparison. I know that ColourPop said that these palettes are sisters. I can see here they are very closely related. In my estimation, you could switch out 6 of these shades and I probably would be none the wiser. Like I said, they're not exact dupes. That glitter, for example, they look very different in the pan, but once they're swatched, it's really, really similar, guys. I mean, I would not be able to tell the difference between these two swatches. So in my estimation, we have about a 50% shade match rate with these two palettes. Now that you've seen all the swatches, all the comparisons, let's do a quick tutorial using this California Love palette. I'll show you how I got this eye look that I'm wearing today, and then I'll wrap up all my thoughts at the end. You know the deal. I always start all my eye looks with my favorite eye base. It's the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly, just to cancel out any veins or redness on my lids. Then I'm going to go in with the shade Gnarly. This is a very pale beige, and start with that all over my lid and a little bit into the crease as well. Then for my transition shade, I'm going to take the shade The Bay, and I'm going to start to work that into the crease area and also a little bit onto the outer part of my lid as well. Next, I'm going to go in with Gold Rush. This is a matte red with some gold glitters, and I'm just going to build that up a little bit onto my outer lid and mostly into the outer part of my crease, really blending that with my Doll 10 and Makeup Molly brushes. Next, I'm going to take Laguna. This is going to be a major blending shade for me. I'm going to blend the entire crease transition area. Later, I'm going to use that to blend my lower lash line as well. First, let's do a little inner corner work. I'm going to use Cruisin' on my pinky. This is a bright gold. Put that right in the inner corner. And like I said, Laguna going onto the lower lashes. I really love these brushes, by the way. Next, I'm taking Surf Rider. I'm going to use my finger to apply that all over my lid area. Then we're going to go back in with Cahuenga and apply that with my finger again, just to the outer part of the eye. Now to add a little pop, I'm going to take Diego with my pointer finger and tap that right into the center of my lid. And going back to old reliable Laguna and just blending everything out, blowing out the crease, blowing out the lower lash line, just getting a really sultry, warm blend on everything. Then I curled my lashes and added some Brownie Points BFF mascara. I love the way this look turned out. I know it's a basic, warm, shimmery eye, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love a basic, warm, shimmery eye. I'm always going to love it. And as long as the products perform well, blend easily, and look beautiful, what's not to be happy about? I'm so confused because by all accounts, I should not like this palette. I know that sounds weird, but just hear me out. First of all, it has a bunch of formulas in here that I don't like. I'm not a pressed glitter fan. I absolutely loathe matte shadows with glitter, and there's a pressed glitter and there are 3 glittery mattes in here. I should hate this palette. As you saw from the comparisons, I have plenty of palettes even from this same brand that look pretty similar to this. By all accounts, I should not enjoy this palette, and I don't know why, but I really do enjoy this. Now, I'm not gonna use this pressed glitter probably. That's just not something that appeals to me. I'm glad that there's only one in here. Something about just like how spicy these colors are and how beautiful these metallic shades are. They're so, so rich. You saw in the swatches, they're just like butter. And even these mattes with glitter, usually I don't like them because they tend to be super dry and they tend to cause a bunch of unnecessary fallout. And these actually perform pretty darn well. I like it. I shouldn't like it, but I like it. I like the packaging. I like the color scheme. I really love the eye look that I came up with. And could I have created this with other shadows in my collection? Sure, but I don't know if I would have put this exact combo together. Just something about it makes me feel cozy and summery, and I'm into it. I can't explain it to you. Now, you saw in the comparisons, this does have some pretty similar brothers and sisters in the ColourPop palette line. I think that these 3 palettes were worth comparing, but not similar enough. The Yes Please palette, it has that same feeling, that toasty, orangey red type of color scheme, but this is a lot more primary. This is a lot more bright and bold, so worth comparing, but not close enough in my opinion. Give It To Me Straight and You Had Me at Hello. Again, some toasty neutrals in here, some shades that are pretty darn close, but I would say that both of these palettes lean a little bit more mauve-y, plummy, and not quite that orange, like retro orange and brown vibe that California Love has. I think that these two are the most similar. Sweet Talk has that warm, kind of muted vibe, but this one's a lot more pink. Double Entendre is probably the closest in my opinion. This one does have more light shades, and of course it's missing that pressed glitter, but I think if you have Double Entendre and Sweet Talk, then that's probably pretty darn close to the looks that you're getting from this California Love palette. Like I said, by all accounts, I shouldn't be loving this, I shouldn't be recommending it, but I do. Something about it just, it makes me feel good inside, and that's really what I'm looking for out of my makeup. Good performance, and just makes me happy, and this one has it. I don't know what to say. The main thing I would change in here, I would have liked to see a bright, like metallic orange in place of this pressed glitter. That's just because personally I'm not a fan of the pressed glitters, but that's really the only thing I would change. California Love, you snuck up on me. You snuck up on me, girl. Thank you so much for watching and for sticking with me. I don't know if this video made any sense. I really hope that it was helpful. I would love to hear what you think about this summer collection. Did you pick anything up? Are you gonna skip out on this palette if you have similar ones? I always love to hear what you guys think about things too. Thanks for bearing with me in my sickness and my weird Dayquil induced state. I truly appreciate you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh no. Oh, hopefully that sneezing didn't mess up my makeup. No, you just still look as mediocre as you did before. I'm fine. Already losing my voice. Oh boy, better take a break. I'm gonna go drink some water. Pray for me. Yikes. Pressed powder palettes. How many times am I gonna have to cut out me like making a sniffing noise in this video? Or me coughing? If I had a regular job, I would just call off, but I don't, so here we are. Ugh. Am I hallucinating, or did I just hear a really weird sound downstairs? Dayquil does wonders for your brain. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore at this point. I was telling my husband like I had to film today and my voice sounds weird, and he was like, well, everybody already makes fun of your voice anyway, so it shouldn't matter. Sad, but oddly comforting. Like the She palette, like the, okay. Press powder palette. You know you're sick when all your N's turn into D's. You're like, dab sick. That's me. I go into such denial about being sick, and I think I can just pretend that I'm not sick and then I can still work. Yesterday I was doing photos, and I would come in here and shoot photos and then go and like lay in my bed. Some people call that dedication. Some people call that being a crazy person. I call it both. Also my reality. California. I keep singing a Tupac song in my head. I won't play it so that I don't get copyright claimed, but you all know what I'm talking about. California knows how to party. Oh my gosh, I'm so shiny. I love it. I love being shiny and gold. Press powder palettes. First Super Shocks and now press powder. When am I gonna get it together? Still waiting on an answer for that. Oh man. I mean, I'm sick, but do I look cute though? Okay, well, all right. Okay then. But bye-bye. Bye-bye.